Hi, everybody. Ron Placone here. So, the country of France has made it illegal for supermarkets to waste food. If they have edible food that's still considered edible, but maybe it has wilted a little bit or something like that, they need to either donate it or, at the very least, use it for animal feed. This is an effort from the country of France to try to curtail and try to battle the amount of food that gets wasted on our planet. Worldwide, about a third of all food that is produced ends up getting wasted. And of course, maybe if there wasn't a problem with poverty in this world, that wouldn't be an issue. There would just be a production issue. But there is. There are people that starve to death every day in this world. Meanwhile, a third of all the food that is produced is wasted. Of course, this is a complex problem. It's far more complicated than the way I just described. But if we can try to battle the amount of food that gets wasted a little bit, that's at least a start to building a better society. France is asking the question, will this catch on globally? And if so, how soon? My response to this, I'm going to quote one of my favorite lyricists, Morrissey: how soon is now? I would love to see this catch on worldwide, especially where I live, the United States of America. Something like this is incredibly necessary. The article estimates that the United States wastes about, what was the number? $160 billion in food every year. $160 billion. That is a lot. That could feed countless people. That could even get you a full cart of stuff at Whole Foods. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of food that gets wasted. And in the United States, there still is an amount of poverty level. It's pretty low. It's about 2% that's truly suffering from true poverty in the United States. But that's 2% too many. And again, that number's not entirely totally 100% in stone, because there's other situations, people that are in neglectful families or abusive families. There's probably other situations that go under the radar. But regardless, 2%, regardless of how accurate it is way too high for a country that wastes $160 billion in food. That's a lot. That's an awful lot. And most people in the United States do not know what it's like, and myself included, we don't know what it's like to go to bed hungry. And I don't mean one of those situations where you didn't get to have a full dinner and you don't want to eat because it's late. You don't want those calories sitting on your stomach, so you go to bed. I don't mean like that. That we've all been there. I've been there. I mean truly, truly going to bed hungry. I don't know what that is like. I can only imagine what that's like. The only point of reference I have is reading Paulo Freire's work. That's the only point of reference I have. And for many Americans, that's the case. Most do not know what it's like to truly go to bed hungry. It's one of those things you don't really know what it's like, but you've heard it's pretty lame. It's like one of the C-SPAN channels or something. Don't have much exposure to it. But nonetheless, if there was policy in place, and I think it shouldn't just be limited to supermarkets in France or anywhere else. I think it needs to go over to restaurants too. And I know that the issue comes up in regards of making sure you're serving the most fresh food possible to your customers. And I get that. You know, a restaurant in general is a type of luxury. But think about the guy over at Berkeley that proved you don't need to even spend a cent on food. This guy was able to successfully dumpster dive and get fresh food every day and a ton of it. And the whole purpose of his study was showing firsthand how much food gets wasted in the United States each day. And this food gets wasted because people are ordered to do so. Bakeries and restaurants and of course supermarkets. It's going on constantly. I know friends that have managed various fast food establishments, and they would tell me the amount of frequency they have to throw things away. And what has always blown my mind is that, you know, it's under this guise of, you know, having the highest quality food possible. Meanwhile, a lot of these fast food establishments, the level of food is so preserved and so processed that it's borderline legal in many other places. Meanwhile, the big concern is not the quality of the actual food itself, but how long it sat in a refrigerator. That's always baffled. But either way, food is getting wasted and at an insane degree. So I think it's time that that type of policy is enacted. And it's not a matter of, oh, well, this is about choice or whatever. This is about having a more comprehensive and a more facilitative way to deal with food waste in this country, which, yeah, I mean, you got to start at some level, even if it is just at the micro level, because really, at the end of the day, the biggest problem with food in this world is not a production problem, it's a distribution problem. That's why the whole Monsanto argument, oh, we need to genetically modify a bunch of crops, we need to make this and that because we don't have enough food to feed all the people that are going to be on this world. No, we have plenty of food because we waste a third of it. All right, it's like one of those things. If I wrote a book and I wanted everybody in the world to read my book, and the only place you could get books was at a bookstore, and all the bookstores in the world, there were like hundreds of them, and for some reason my book, all the copies of my book were only in 2 stores, tons of copies just chilling, and they were only in 2 stores. I wouldn't be like, hey, we got to print up more books. I'd be like, whoa, we got to distribute this book around. My book's only in 2 stores. There's all these other stores that need my book, and there's too many copies of my book in this one store. This guy read my book so many times, he has type 2 diabetes now. No, it's a distribution problem. Get the book out there. More people got to read I Like My Food to Come From the Ground by Placone. Look, it's time to really start addressing worldwide poverty. I salute France for taking that first step, and I really hope that other nations in the world, especially where I live, the United States, starts following suit. This is Ron Placone signing out.